This conference will now be recorded.
All right, so good morning. Today is Tuesday, April 30th, our last trading day of April. Let's try to finish off strong. Now, everything that we're going to be talking about this morning is for educational purposes only, and nothing is intended as any type of investment advice. So first thing I want to talk about is Facebook. Now, Facebook isn't really doing anything right now, but I just want to reiterate the story that we had from yesterday as we were coming into the close. So remember, we had beautiful prints that came in at 195 on the ask side. So essentially what we're looking for is a pretty substantial pullback from not only the amount of times that it actually hit the 195, but the amount of prints that actually came out. So also another thing to remember is we do have bid prints down here at 192 as well. So really what the story is looking at is that, we're going to be looking for a pretty big short. Now, no reason to jump the gun, but when we get a trigger down, we're going to be looking to trigger down. Conservative price targets be 192, and then obviously it does need to fall a little bit below that 192 as well. We probably start about that 191 level. So it's almost really kind of back to where we originally saw this move come up from yesterday. So just want to reiterate that, like I said, from what we saw yesterday, what we were talking about yesterday, let's move on to what's actually moving this morning. So REN. RENN. Now we've been seeing this thing jump around a little bit. We know that we have some decent buying that was, right around the 2 level, but we jumped up overnight up to that 250. So 250 did have some decent prints. Now it's not even close to as much as I would have liked to see at the 250. You could see the burst that came in here. What I really did like though is right here when we're coming up right underneath the 250 level, that 245 to 246 position, and then obviously the underneath around that 240 area. So certainly going to be watching this very closely. Just remember what we need is, that pullback to come back, and especially because of the fact of the amount of buying that we saw around this 240. We need a little bit of a pullback, then a trigger to the upside. No reason that we don't see this thing get up to 275. Next one looking at is PINS. So PINS. Now this morning we had ask prints that came in at that 36 level. You can see the little burst that started here with above the ask, and then afterwards, shortly afterwards, we got a nice little burst at that 36 level. Now, just like we continue to see at 8 o'clock, we're getting these Laker prints that are coming back in. We want to look bullish above the top, bearish below the bottom. And I just haven't seen really enough of the new buying to come into the stock for it to really be moving as much up as it has. Also, if you remember from yesterday, we had some big prints that came in at the 34 level that it never really satisfied coming back underneath from. So based off of those two variables, the fact that we didn't really get as much as you would expect, and then also on top of the fact that right here at that 34, we never really pulled back coming into there. I'm certainly going to be looking for, to see first what's going to happen once the market opens, but overall, I'm going to be looking for a nice little trigger back down to break underneath that 34. Try to go out there and get shares. I know most people still have not been able to, but if you're able to, then perfect, because it's definitely setting up for a nice little story there. And then we have Oxy. Oxy this morning was just whatever the hell happened. This is one hell of a move, but we jumped all the way up to this basically 64.25 level. But look at the volume that it jumped up on. I mean, it wasn't really that much considering the fact that, for that big of a move. And then we end up just like that. When we have that big of a move on volume that does not sustain it, we see it comes right back down underneath. Now, I haven't been able to see the prints, obviously, since I've been talking, but it looks like we have a whole bunch that came in and a whole bunch of covering coming in at that 58 level, 59.50. We have new selling. So the prints are a bit mixed right now. You're going to want to let it kind of settle down a little bit. Just because of, it's really moving a little bit crazy. But it's just, like I said, just a little bit too mixed for me. Coming back down, we're seeing that covering coming in. I'm not really seeing as much new selling as I would have liked to. 59.50 wasn't bad, but I mean, we're talking about, we're already at 58, so it's $1.50 away. So we're going to need to see something a little bit new and a little bit more definitive in here for the, to see if we're going to have that continued move, or if we keep getting covering like this, guys, we're going to end up coming right back up towards that print line right here, 60.09. I know it's only 25,000 shares, but that's what we have to work with right now. All right, let's take a look at our scanners. Let's see if anything else is going on out there. It was a little bit light this morning. Now, GE, yes, I know it's trading 16 million shares. I know there's a whole bunch that's going on, but I'm just not a big fan of it. I know, it made a pretty decent move. You're talking about a dollar move coming into the pre-market, but there's just better stuff for us to look at. There's things that are going to have better ranges, and with the amount of volume that we see it already trading, reading the prints is just a very, very hard thing. So there's no reason to make it harder for ourselves on a stock with a smaller range. We might as well make it easier for ourselves with something that has a bigger range. So I'm going to put it on the list because it does fit criteria, especially if you like the little, slower, more controlled stocks. But it's just personally, it's not really a stock that I'm probably going to end up looking at. And that's it for our gainers side of things. PHG, really no trading going on whatsoever. Now moving over to the loser side of things, we have pretty much nothing. There's not really much here on the losers that I saw that I care, that I really stuck out. PRGO 139 doing absolutely nothing. WDC 143, but just completely consolidated. DWT is the ETF, and then Oxy is the one that we've just literally just spoke about. So not really too much else that's going on there. Can we look at Apple? So Apple's doing absolutely nothing this morning. We had yesterday, it was just really crappy trading. We had a few prints that came in at that 205 level that was on the bid side, which obviously we're not even close to there. So there's not anything that I see in Apple right now that I would be paying attention. We have way better stocks to be looking at coming into this morning. Can we look at Goog? No, I'm not. There's no reason. Well, I mean, I'll look at it, but there's no reason in the world that I can see to trade this. And for some reason, everything's taking forever with TradeStation. Real quick. Not good. But Goog, I mean, there's so Goog, you have one print, 1,190 and 90 on the ask side of things. So this is pulling back from there. I would expect to see it above that ask side. I'm just going to make it real simple. Just curious if earnings too. Yeah. Well, so yeah, they have one print on the ask, 1,190. So essentially, you would expect that. I was at 703. Did it ever get back up? Oh yeah, it already got back. Yeah, it's just I don't see any. It's just one of those stocks. It's not meant to be traded at all. So it's a rough one. You're gonna have to look more on the technical analysis side because the prints don't really come into it too much. CVX. Let's take a look. Yes, absolutely. So CVX, new to our list, started about, okay. So let's see what we got. So we have prints at 121.40 and 121.50 looks like we have bid print. So it looks like we're pulling up right now on bid prints and we're going to be looking for it to come back towards that downside. Okay, nice position right here. Nice new buying at 121.40 as well. So I would expect it to come back down to the downside though before we would end up coming back up there. And anything MCD of earnings today, oops, wrong side. Let's take a look. Yeah, so nice move this morning on really no volume. Let's see what we got, any type of prints. I know you were looking in there earlier this morning, but you can see it's just a giant mix. There's nothing definitive that came into this thing yet. And you can see jumping up on here, it's on absolutely no prints. There's just nothing definitive to go on yet. It's definitely going to move. So certainly, we'll keep our eyes on, and I'll put this one on our list too, because it's pretty good range. We see the volume is picked up right now in the pre-market. So once we get some type of definitive show in hand in this one, Jack, this should be a good trade. We should see something real nice pop out of that. Nice call. All right, guys, so let's get ready for the morning. Remember, make sure you use my email, rich@atc.trade, for our Traders Exchange this afternoon at 12:30. And I will talk to everyone in the chat. Happy trading.